Lecture on Health and Safety in Factories in Pakistan. Chapter 3, Health and Safety. Section 15, Cleanliness. Subsection 1, General Cleanliness Requirements. Definition: Cleanliness in a factory refers to the maintenance of a clean and hygienic environment within the premises. It includes the regular removal of dirt, refuse, and other waste materials from various areas in the factory. Elaboration: Cleanliness is crucial in factories to ensure the well-being of workers and prevent the spread of diseases. The following requirements must be met. A. Accumulation of dirt and refuse must be removed daily from floors, benches, staircases, and other work areas. This should be done through sweeping or other effective methods and disposed of properly. B. The floor of every workroom should be cleaned at least once a week, either by washing or using disinfectants when necessary. C. Effective drainage systems must be provided and maintained for areas prone to becoming wet during manufacturing processes. D. Walls, ceilings, partitions, and passages must be maintained appropriately. This includes repainting or revarnishing every 5 years for painted or varnished surfaces, cleaning every 14 months for smooth, impervious surfaces, and whitewashing or color washing every 14 months for other surfaces. All processes must be recorded in a register. Real-world examples: in a food processing factory in Pakistan, the production floor is cleaned daily to prevent contamination of food products. Similarly, in a textile factory, regular cleaning is essential to maintain a safe and healthy workplace. Case study: in a food processing factory located in Lahore, Pakistan, failure to maintain cleanliness led to a bacterial contamination incident. This resulted in a product recall and significant financial losses for the company. This case highlights the importance of adhering to cleanliness regulations. Section 16, Disposal of Wastes and Effluents. Definition: Disposal of wastes and effluents refers to the systematic and safe removal of waste materials and liquids generated during the manufacturing process in a factory. Elaboration: Proper waste disposal is critical to prevent environmental pollution and maintain a clean and safe factory environment. Key points include: 1. Effective arrangements must be made for the disposal of wastes and effluents generated during manufacturing processes. 2. The government may establish rules regarding waste disposal arrangements and require approval from designated authorities. Real-world examples: in a chemical factory in Pakistan, hazardous waste materials must be disposed of according to strict regulations to prevent environmental contamination. Similarly, a beverage factory needs to manage the disposal of liquid byproducts generated during beverage production. Case study: a textile factory in Faisalabad, Pakistan, faced legal consequences due to improper disposal of dye effluents into a nearby river. This led to water pollution and harm to the local ecosystem. The factory was required to pay hefty fines and implement proper waste disposal practices as part of a settlement with the authorities. Section 17, Ventilation and Temperature Control. Subsection 1, Adequate ventilation and temperature. Definition: Ventilation and temperature control in a factory involve maintaining a workroom environment with sufficient airflow and comfortable temperature conditions for workers. Elaboration: Adequate ventilation and temperature control are essential for the health and comfort of factory workers. Key requirements include: A. Ensuring fresh air circulation in workrooms. B. Maintaining a temperature level that provides reasonable comfort and prevents health issues. I. Designing walls and roofs to prevent excessively high temperatures. 2. Implementing measures to protect workers from excessively high temperatures when the nature of work involves heat production. 2. The government may set standards for ventilation and temperature control, require the placement of thermometers, and prescribe methods to achieve these standards. 3. The government may also suggest methods such as whitewashing, insulation, or roof modification to reduce excessively high temperatures in certain factories. Real-world examples: in a cement factory in Pakistan, temperature control is crucial to prevent worker heat stress. In an automobile manufacturing plant, adequate ventilation ensures that workers are not exposed to harmful emissions from machinery. Case study: an engineering factory in Karachi, Pakistan, experienced worker discomfort and reduced productivity due to inadequate ventilation and high temperatures in the work area. After implementing proper ventilation and insulation measures, the factory observed a significant improvement in worker satisfaction and productivity. Section 18. Dust and fume control. Definition: dust and fume control in a factory involves measures to prevent the accumulation of harmful dust, fumes, or impurities that can pose health risks to workers. Elaboration: controlling dust and fumes is crucial in factories to protect workers from respiratory issues. Key points include: 1. Effective measures must be taken to prevent the accumulation and inhalation of dust, fumes, or other impurities generated during the manufacturing process. 2. Internal combustion engines must be operated with proper exhaust systems to release fumes into the open air. Exhaust pipes should be insulated to prevent scalding and heat radiation. Real-world examples: in a chemical factory in Pakistan, controlling fumes generated during chemical reactions is vital for worker safety. In a food processing facility, measures are taken to control flour dust in the baking area. Case study: a textile factory in Faisalabad faced worker complaints about respiratory issues due to exposure to cotton dust. The factory installed effective dust control systems, such as air filtration and personal protective equipment, resulting in a significant reduction in worker health problems. Section 19. Artificial humidification. Definition: artificial humidification in a factory refers to the intentional increase in air humidity levels using controlled methods. Elaboration: maintaining proper humidity levels is essential in some factories, especially in textile manufacturing. Key points include: 1. Government rules may prescribe standards for artificial humidification, regulate methods for increasing air humidity, require humidity tests, and establish methods for ventilation and cooling of air. 2. Water used for artificial humidification must be sourced from a public supply or effectively purified before use. 3. Inspectors may enforce measures to ensure effective water purification if required. Real-world examples: in a textile factory in Pakistan, artificial humidification is essential to prevent damage to textile fibers during processing. In an engineering factory, humidity control may be necessary to prevent corrosion of metal parts. Case study: a textile factory in Karachi, Pakistan, faced challenges with maintaining the required humidity levels, leading to product defects. After implementing a new humidification system and ensuring water purification, the factory achieved consistent product quality and reduced material waste. Section 20. Overcrowding. Subsection 1. General requirements. Definition: overcrowding in a factory refers to the condition where a workroom is excessively filled with workers, which can be detrimental to their health. Elaboration: overcrowding is a critical issue that can impact worker well-being. Here's a breakdown of the requirements and implications. 1. No workroom in any factory should be overcrowded to a degree that is harmful to the health of the workers. 2. To ensure adequate space for workers, each worker in a workroom must have at least 500 cubic feet of space. This calculation should not consider spaces more than 14 feet above the floor level. 3. The chief inspector may require the posting of notices in workrooms specifying the maximum number of workers allowed, as per the provisions in this section. 4. The chief inspector has the authority to exempt specific workrooms from these requirements if it is determined that compliance is unnecessary for the worker's health, subject to certain conditions. Real-world examples: in a cement factory in Pakistan, overcrowding can occur on the production floor, leading to congestion and safety hazards. In an automobile manufacturing plant, ensuring adequate space in assembly areas is crucial for worker safety and efficient operations. Case study: a textile factory in Karachi, Pakistan, previously faced overcrowding issues in its weaving department, leading to accidents and reduced productivity. After implementing space optimization measures, accidents decreased, and worker efficiency improved significantly. Section 21, Lighting. Subsection 1, Lighting Requirements. Definition: lighting in a factory refers to the provision of sufficient and appropriate illumination in work areas to ensure worker safety and productivity. Elaboration: proper lighting is essential for maintaining a safe and productive work environment. Key points include: 1. In every part of a factory where workers are present, there must be sufficient and suitable lighting, whether natural or artificial or a combination of both. 2. Glazed windows and skylights used for lighting must be kept clean on both the inner and outer surfaces and should not be obstructed. 3. Measures should be taken to prevent glare and the formation of shadows that could strain workers' eyes or pose accident risks. 4. Government may establish standards for adequate lighting in factories, including specific requirements for different types of factories or manufacturing processes. Real-world examples: in a food processing factory in Pakistan, proper lighting is crucial in food preparation areas to ensure quality and safety. In an engineering factory, well-lit workstations are necessary for precision manufacturing. Case study: a chemical factory in Lahore, Pakistan, had issues with insufficient lighting in its storage area, leading to accidents due to poor visibility. After implementing improved lighting solutions, the factory experienced a significant reduction in accidents and near-miss incidents. Section 22, Drinking Water. Definition: drinking water in a factory refers to the provision of a sufficient supply of safe and wholesome drinking water to all workers within the factory premises. Elaboration: access to clean and safe drinking water is a fundamental requirement for worker health and well-being. Key points include: 1. Effective arrangements must be made to provide and maintain a sufficient supply of wholesome drinking water at convenient locations for all workers in the factory. 2. All drinking water points should be clearly marked in a language understood by the majority of workers. These points should not be located within 20 feet of washing areas, urinals, or latrines unless approved in writing by the chief inspector. 3. In factories with more than 250 workers, arrangements must be made for cooling drinking water during hot weather. Daily renewal of water, if not directly supplied, and a sufficient number of cups or drinking vessels should also be provided. 4. Government regulations may prescribe rules to ensure compliance with these provisions. Real-world examples: in a beverage factory in Pakistan, providing access to clean drinking water is essential for the safety of workers and the quality of the products. In a chemical factory, workers need access to water to wash off chemical spills promptly. Case study: a textile factory in Faisalabad, Pakistan, struggled with the availability of drinking water for its large workforce during the summer months. After installing water coolers and ensuring daily water renewal, worker satisfaction improved, and instances of heat-related illnesses decreased. Section 23, Latrines and Urinals. Definition: latrines and urinals in a factory refer to sanitary facilities provided for workers to meet their hygiene needs. Elaboration: proper sanitation facilities are critical for maintaining worker health and hygiene. Key points include: 1. Factories must provide a sufficient number of prescribed types of latrines and urinals that are conveniently situated and accessible to workers at all times. 2. Separate enclosed latrines and urinals must be provided for male and female workers. 3. These facilities should be adequately lit and ventilated and should not communicate directly with workrooms, except through an open space or ventilated passage unless specially exempted by the chief inspector. 4. All latrines and urinals should be maintained in a clean and sanitary condition using suitable detergents or disinfectants. 5. The floors and internal walls of these facilities should have a smooth, polished, and impervious surface up to a height of 3 feet. Additionally, washing facilities should be provided near every sanitary convenience. 6. Government regulations may prescribe the number of latrines and urinals based on the number of male and female workers in the factory and other sanitation-related matters. Real-world examples: in a food processing factory in Pakistan, maintaining clean and well-ventilated latrines is essential to prevent contamination of food products. In an automobile manufacturing plant, ensuring separate facilities for male and female workers is crucial for gender-sensitive sanitation. Case study: an engineering factory in Islamabad, Pakistan, had inadequate and poorly maintained restroom facilities, leading to worker dissatisfaction and decreased productivity. After renovating and improving the sanitation facilities, worker morale and efficiency improved significantly. Section 24, Spittoons. Subsection 1, Spittoon requirements. Definition: spittoons in a factory refer to containers provided at convenient places for workers to spit, which must be kept clean and hygienic. Elaboration: maintaining cleanliness and hygiene in a factory is crucial for the well-being of workers. Here's a breakdown of the requirements. 1. In every factory, a sufficient number of spittoons should be provided at convenient locations. These spittoons must be maintained in a clean and hygienic condition. 2. Government regulations may prescribe the type, number, and location of spittoons in factories and any other necessary matters related to their maintenance. 3. It is prohibited for anyone to spit within the factory premises except in the provided spittoons. Notices specifying this rule and the penalty for its violation should be prominently displayed within the premises. 4. Violation of the prohibition on spitting in contravention of subsection 3 can result in a fine not exceeding 100 rupees. Real-world examples: in a food processing factory in Pakistan, maintaining clean spittoons is vital to prevent contamination of food products. In an automobile manufacturing plant, workers need designated areas to maintain cleanliness. Case study: a textile factory in Faisalabad, Pakistan, struggled with hygiene due to improper use of spittoons. After implementing strict monitoring and cleaning schedules, hygiene improved, reducing the risk of infections among workers. Section 25, Precautions against contagious or infectious disease. Definition: precautions against contagious or infectious diseases involve regular health checks for factory workers to ensure they are not suffering from any contagious or infectious diseases. Elaboration: preventing the spread of contagious or infectious diseases in factories is vital for worker safety. Key points include: 1. Each worker in a factory is required to have a hygiene card. This card is updated twice a year, in January and July, following an examination by an appointed factory doctor. The examination's cost is determined by the government and is borne by the factory's occupier or manager. 2. If a worker is found to be suffering from a contagious or infectious disease during the examination, they should not be assigned work until they are declared free of the disease. Real-world examples: in a chemical factory in Pakistan, regular health checks help prevent the spread of diseases caused by exposure to hazardous chemicals. In a textile mill, workers are checked for diseases that may result from exposure to dust and fibers. Case study: a beverage factory in Lahore, Pakistan, experienced a temporary halt in production when several workers contracted contagious diseases. After implementing regular health checkups and appropriate precautions, the factory resumed operations safely. Section 26, Compulsory Vaccination and Inoculation. Definition: compulsory vaccination and inoculation in a factory refer to the requirement for workers to receive vaccinations and inoculations against specific diseases at prescribed intervals. Elaboration: ensuring that workers are protected against preventable diseases is essential. Key points include: workers in a factory must be vaccinated and inoculated against diseases as prescribed, and the expenses incurred for these procedures, if any, should be covered by the factory's occupier or manager. Real-world examples: in a food processing factory in Pakistan, workers are often required to be vaccinated against diseases like hepatitis A to prevent contamination of food products. In an engineering plant, workers may need inoculations against tetanus due to the risk of exposure to metalwork injuries. Case study: an automobile manufacturing plant in Karachi, Pakistan, experienced an outbreak of preventable diseases among workers. After implementing compulsory vaccinations and inoculations, the incidence of these diseases significantly decreased. Section 27, Canteens. Subsection 1, Canteen Requirements. Definition: canteens in factories refer to facilities provided for workers, especially in larger factories, where meals can be served. Elaboration: providing a dedicated space for workers to have meals is essential for their well-being. Key points include: 1. Government may make rules requiring the provision of an adequate canteen in factories employing more than 250 workers. 2. These rules can specify the timeline for establishing the canteen, standards for its construction, accommodation, furniture, equipment, types of food served, charges, and worker representation in its management. Real-world examples: in a cement factory in Pakistan, a canteen ensures that workers have access to meals, preventing interruptions in production. In a chemical plant, canteens are essential for workers handling hazardous materials, as they require regular breaks and proper nutrition. Case study: a textile factory in Multan, Pakistan, struggled with worker productivity due to the lack of a canteen. After establishing a canteen facility, worker morale improved, and the factory experienced increased output. Section 28, Welfare Officer. Definition: welfare officers in a factory refer to individuals employed in factories employing at least 500 workers, responsible for performing specified duties related to worker welfare. Elaboration: appointing welfare officers is crucial for ensuring workers' well-being and addressing their needs. Key points include: 1. In factories employing a minimum of 500 workers, the occupier or manager must employ a specific number of welfare officers who possess the required qualifications. Real-world examples: in a chemical factory in Pakistan, welfare officers help address workers' concerns related to chemical exposure. In an engineering factory, welfare officers support workers in adhering to safety regulations. Case study: a cement factory in Islamabad, Pakistan, faced challenges related to worker satisfaction and welfare. After hiring qualified welfare officers, the factory introduced programs to improve worker well-being, resulting in increased job satisfaction and reduced turnover. Section 29, Precautions in case of fire. Definition: precautions in case of fire in a factory refer to measures taken to prevent and address fires, ensuring the safety of workers. Elaboration: fire safety is paramount in factories to protect both workers and property. Key points include: 1. Every factory should have means of escape in case of fire as prescribed by government regulations. 2. Inspectors have the authority to order the manager of a factory to take specific measures if the factory is not equipped with the required means of escape. 3. Doors providing exit from any room should not be locked or obstructed when workers are inside, and they should open outward or toward the nearest exit. Windows, doors, or other fire exits should be clearly marked and distinctively identified. 4. Audible warning systems should be provided in every factory to alert workers in case of a fire emergency. 5. Adequate passages for accessing means of escape in case of fire should be maintained in every factory room. 6. Special training and awareness programs are required in factories employing more than 10 workers in specific conditions, such as working above the ground floor or dealing with explosive materials. 7. Government regulations may specify the means of escape to be provided, as well as the firefighting apparatus to be maintained. Real-world examples: in a chemical factory in Pakistan, fire precautions include the use of flame-resistant clothing and the installation of fire extinguishers near hazardous areas. In an automobile manufacturing plant, fire drills and evacuation routes are critical for worker safety. Case study: an engineering factory in Lahore, Pakistan, faced a fire incident due to inadequate escape measures. After implementing proper fire precautions, including training and signage, the factory significantly improved its safety standards, leading to a reduction in fire-related incidents. Section 30, Fencing of Machinery. Definition: fencing of machinery in a factory refers to the installation of substantial safeguards around moving machine parts to prevent accidental contact. Elaboration: properly fencing machinery is vital to prevent accidents and protect worker safety. Key points include: 1. Specific machine parts, such as moving parts of prime movers, flywheels, water wheel and turbine races, stock bars projecting beyond lathe headstocks, electric generators, transmission machinery, and other dangerous parts, should be securely fenced while in motion. 2. Set screws, bolts, keys, and gearing elements that workers could come into contact with while in motion should also be securely fenced. 3. Government may grant exemptions for specific machinery or parts from these fencing requirements under certain conditions. 4. Government regulations may prescribe further precautions for specific machinery or parts. Real-world examples: in a cement factory in Pakistan, machinery fencing includes guarding conveyor belts and crushers. In a textile mill, weaving machines are fenced to protect workers from moving parts. Case study: an automobile manufacturing factory in Karachi, Pakistan, experienced accidents due to the absence of proper machinery fencing. After implementing adequate safeguards and training, the factory observed a significant reduction in accidents and injuries. Section 31, Work on or near machinery in motion. Definition: work on or near machinery in motion refers to any activity involving the examination or operation of machinery while it is in operation, or any task related to mounting, shipping, lubrication, or adjustments that must be performed while the machinery is running. Elaboration: this section emphasizes the safety measures required when working with machinery in motion. Specially trained workers: any such work should only be performed by specially trained adult male workers. Their names must be recorded in the register as per the prescribed guidelines. Belt handling: workers performing these tasks should not handle belts at moving pulleys unless the belt is less than 6 inches wide and is either laced or flush with the belt joint. Restrictions on women and children: no women or children are allowed to clean, lubricate, or adjust any part of machinery while it's in motion or to work between moving or fixed parts of machinery in motion. Government regulations: the government has the authority to prohibit specific cleaning, lubricating, or adjusting tasks on machinery in motion in certain factories or classes of factories through official notifications. Real-world examples: in a textile factory in Faisalabad, Pakistan, workers are trained to follow strict safety protocols when cleaning and maintaining spinning machines while they are operational. Specialized maintenance personnel are assigned to perform tasks like belt adjustments to ensure worker safety. Case study: an incident occurred in a food processing factory in Islamabad, Pakistan, where a worker attempted to adjust a conveyor belt while it was in motion, resulting in a serious injury. After this incident, the factory implemented rigorous training programs and safety measures, including restricted access to machinery during operation, leading to a decrease in such accidents. Section 32, Employment of young persons on dangerous machines. Definition: this section addresses the employment of adolescents, young persons, on machines and outlines the necessary precautions to ensure their safety. Elaboration: key points related to the employment of young persons on dangerous machines. Training and instruction: adolescents must receive proper training on the dangers associated with the machine they are operating. They should also be instructed on safety precautions. Supervision: if an adolescent operates a dangerous machine, they must either have received sufficient training or work under the supervision of an experienced person with knowledge of the machine. Government notifications: the government may specify which machines are considered dangerous for children and adolescents and outline the requirements for their safe operation. Real-world examples: In a chemical processing plant in Lahore, Pakistan, adolescents are allowed to operate certain packaging machines only after undergoing rigorous safety training and working under close supervision to prevent accidents. Case study: in a beverage bottling factory in Karachi, Pakistan, an adolescent worker was injured while operating a labeling machine. After the incident, the factory implemented stricter training and supervision protocols, resulting in improved safety for young workers. Section 33, Striking Gear and Devices for Cutting Off Power. Definition: this section deals with the installation and maintenance of mechanisms for handling driving belts, especially in cases where they interact with fast and loose pulleys. Elaboration: striking gear and devices for cutting off power are crucial for the safe operation of machinery. Handling belts, suitable striking gear or mechanical appliances must be provided to move driving belts to and from fast and loose pulleys, preventing belt creeping on fast pulleys. Belt resting: driving belts, when not in use, should not be allowed to rest or ride on shafting in motion. Emergency power cutoff: every factory should have suitable devices for cutting off power during emergencies. For factories using electricity for power, this applies to workrooms. Real-world examples: in a cement factory in Multan, Pakistan, striking gear is installed to manage the conveyor belts that transport raw materials. The factory also has emergency power cutoff switches strategically placed near machinery. Case study: a textile mill in Lahore faced issues with belts creeping on fast pulleys, leading to frequent stoppages. After installing improved striking gear, the mill increased production efficiency and reduced downtime. Section 34, Self-acting machines. Definition: this section addresses the safety distance between the traversing parts of self-acting machines and any fixed structures that people might pass by during their employment. Elaboration: key points regarding self-acting machines and their safety. Safety zone: no part of a self-acting machine or materials on it should traverse within a distance of 18 inches from any fixed structure not part of the machine if people might pass by there. Exceptions: the chief inspector may permit the use of machines not complying with these requirements under certain safety conditions. Real-world examples: in a chemicals processing plant in Karachi, Pakistan, strict safety zones are enforced around self-acting machines to prevent accidents. Workers are trained to maintain a safe distance. Case study: an engineering factory in Rawalpindi, Pakistan, faced compliance issues with safety zones around self-acting machines. After implementing measures and securing permits from the chief inspector, the factory improved safety without disrupting operations. Section 35, Casing of new machinery. Definition: this section emphasizes the need to encase or guard specific machine parts for the safety of workers. Elaboration: casing of machinery parts is critical for safety. Guarding set screws and belts, set screws, belts, or keys on revolving shafts, spindles, wheels, or pinions must be effectively guarded to prevent accidents. Encasing gearings, all spur, worm, and other toothed or friction gearing, which doesn't require frequent adjustments during operation, should be completely encased for safety. Legal consequences: selling or renting machinery that doesn't comply with these safety requirements can result in imprisonment or fines. Further safeguards: the government may issue rules specifying additional safeguards for specific machinery or parts. Real-world examples: in a cement factory in Islamabad, Pakistan, gears and belts on conveyor systems are encased to prevent accidental contact. In a chemical processing plant in Lahore, all gears are fully guarded. Case study: an accident occurred in an automobile assembly plant in Lahore due to unguarded gears on a conveyor system. After this incident, the factory installed appropriate guards, resulting in increased worker safety. Section 36, Prohibition of employment of women and children near cotton openers. Definition: this section prohibits the employment of women and children in areas of a factory where cotton openers are in operation. Elaboration: key points regarding this section. Prohibition: Women and children are not allowed to work in any part of a factory where cotton openers are operating. Exception: if a partition separates the feed end of a cotton opener from the delivery end, women over 18 years of age may work at the delivery end. Enforcement: this provision is enforced to prevent the exposure of women and children to the risks associated with cotton opener machines. Real-world examples: in a textile factory in Sialkot, Pakistan, women and children are not employed in areas where cotton openers are used due to the risks associated with cotton dust and machinery. Case study: a textile factory in Faisalabad faced issues with cotton opener dust affecting workers' health. After enforcing this provision and implementing proper partitions, the factory improved conditions for women workers. Section 37, Hoists and Lifts. Definition: this section focuses on the safe operation of hoists and lifts in factories. Elaboration: key points regarding hoists and lifts. Examination and testing. Hoists and lifts should be thoroughly examined and tested at least once every year by a competent person. Records. Records of such examinations and tests should be kept readily available. Maximum safe working load. The maximum safe working load should be conspicuously displayed, and overloading should be prohibited. Use of defective hoists or lifts. Using defective hoists or lifts is prohibited until necessary repairs are made. Real-world examples: in an electronics manufacturing facility in Lahore, Pakistan, hoists used for transporting heavy equipment are regularly examined and tested by certified engineers. Safety records are maintained for inspection. Case study: an accident occurred in a textile mill in Karachi due to a hoist malfunction. Following this incident, the mill implemented strict examination and testing protocols, reducing the risk of similar accidents. Section 38, Lifting machines, chains, ropes, and lifting tackles. Definition: this section addresses the safe use of lifting machines, chains, ropes, and lifting tackles in factories. Elaboration: key points regarding lifting equipment. Competent person. Lifting appliances must be used under the supervision of a competent person. Testing and examination. All lifting machines, chains, ropes, and lifting tackles should be thoroughly examined and tested every year. Identification mark. Every lifting machine or appliance should have a distinctive mark specifying the safe working load. Records. Records of examinations and tests should be maintained and made readily available. Real-world examples. In a steel manufacturing plant in Lahore, Pakistan, lifting equipment is regularly inspected by certified engineers, and each piece of equipment is marked with its safe working load. Case study: an incident occurred in a construction site in Rawalpindi due to the failure of a lifting chain. After this incident, the construction company implemented strict testing and examination procedures for all lifting equipment, enhancing safety. Section 39, Revolving machinery. Definition: this section deals with the protection of workers from the dangers posed by revolving machinery. Elaboration: key points regarding revolving machinery. Fixed guards. Revolving parts of prime movers and all dangerous parts of transmission machinery should be securely fenced unless they are in a position where they cannot be accessed. Secure fencing. Fencing should be substantial and kept in position while the machinery is in motion. Inspection and repairs. Fencing should be periodically inspected and maintained in good condition. Real-world examples. In a woodworking shop in Karachi, Pakistan, all circular saws and milling machines have fixed guards to protect workers from revolving machinery. Case study: a metalworking factory in Islamabad faced issues with workers accidentally coming into contact with rotating machine parts. After installing secure fencing, the factory significantly reduced the risk of accidents. Section 40, Pressure plant. Definition: this section covers safety measures related to pressure plants used in factories. Elaboration: key points regarding pressure plants. Examination and testing. Pressure plants should be examined and tested by a competent person at least once every year. Maintenance records. Records of such examinations and tests should be maintained and made readily available. Safe working pressure. The maximum permissible working pressure should be clearly marked on every pressure plant. Operation by competent persons. Pressure plants should only be operated by persons who have received adequate training and are competent to operate them safely. Real-world examples. In a chemical processing facility in Lahore, Pakistan, pressure vessels are regularly inspected and tested, with maintenance records available for review. Only trained and certified operators handle these pressure plants. Case study. An accident occurred in a pharmaceutical factory in Faisalabad due to a burst pipe in a pressure plant. After this incident, the factory implemented strict examination, testing, and maintenance procedures, resulting in improved safety. Section 41, Floors, Stairs, and Means of Access. Definition. This section addresses the safety of floors, stairs, and means of access within factory premises. Elaboration. Key points regarding floors, stairs, and access. Sound construction. All floors, steps, stairs, and means of access should be of sound construction and properly maintained. Slippery surfaces. Steps and stairs should be provided with a non-slip surface, and any oil or grease should be removed promptly. Openings. All openings in floors, platforms, and stairs should be guarded to prevent accidents. Safe loading. Floors should be capable of safely supporting any load that may be imposed upon them. Real-world examples. In an automotive manufacturing plant in Karachi, Pakistan, all floors are constructed with non-slip surfaces, and stairs are regularly checked for safety. Openings are guarded to prevent accidents. Case study. A worker in a textile factory in Multan fell through an unguarded opening in the floor, resulting in an injury. Following this incident, the factory improved safety measures by installing guards and ensuring regular maintenance. Section 42, Pits, Sumps, Openings in Floors, etc. Definition. This section deals with the safety measures required for pits, sumps, and openings in factory floors. Elaboration. Key points regarding pits, sumps, and openings. Guarding openings. All openings in floors, platforms, and runways should be securely covered or fenced to prevent accidents. Safe access and egress. Safe means of access and egress should be provided for employees working in pits or sumps. Ventilation. Adequate ventilation should be provided in enclosed spaces like sumps to ensure a safe working environment. Regular inspection. These areas should be regularly inspected to ensure safety. Real-world examples. In a food processing plant in Islamabad, Pakistan, all pits and openings are securely covered to prevent accidents. Workers are provided with safe means of access and egress. Case study. An accident occurred in a chemical manufacturing plant in Lahore when a worker fell into an uncovered pit. After this incident, the company implemented strict guarding measures and increased inspection frequency. Section 43, Excessive Weights. Definition. This section addresses safety measures related to lifting and carrying excessive weights within factory premises. Elaboration. Key points regarding excessive weights. Prohibition. No worker should be required or allowed to manually carry, push, or drag a load that is so heavy as to be likely to cause injury. Mechanical assistance. Mechanical means, such as cranes or forklifts, should be provided for handling heavy loads. Training. Workers involved in lifting or moving heavy loads should be properly trained. Real-world examples. In a manufacturing facility in Sialkot, Pakistan, mechanical lifting equipment is used for handling heavy raw materials to prevent worker injuries. Case study. A worker in a construction site in Rawalpindi suffered a back injury while manually carrying a heavy load of bricks. Following this incident, the construction company introduced forklifts and provided training, reducing the risk of such injuries. Section 44, Protection of Eyes. Definition. This section focuses on the protection of workers' eyes from injuries caused by particles or substances. Elaboration. Key points regarding eye protection. Eye protection. Adequate eye protection equipment should be provided to workers exposed to the risk of injury from particles or substances. Training. workers should be trained in the proper use and maintenance of eye protection gear. First aid, suitable first aid equipment for eye injuries should be provided and maintained. Real-world examples: in a welding workshop in Karachi, Pakistan, workers are provided with safety goggles to protect their eyes from sparks and debris. Case study: an accident occurred in a woodworking factory in Lahore when a worker's eye was injured by a wood splinter. After this incident, the factory provided safety glasses to all workers exposed to similar risks. Section 45. Powers to require specifications and tests of stability. Definition. Section 45 of Pakistan's factory regulations grants authority to inspectors to assess the safety of buildings, ways, machinery, and plants within factories. If they deem these components potentially dangerous to human life or safety, they can serve a written order to the factory manager. This order may require the submission of detailed drawings, specifications, or conducting specific tests to determine the safety of these elements. Elaboration. Inspectors in Pakistan have the power to assess the safety of factories. They can request factory managers to provide detailed information or perform tests to ensure that the buildings, machinery, and plants within the factory are safe for workers. This is essential to prevent accidents and protect the well-being of employees. Example. In a food processing factory in Pakistan, an inspector may request the factory manager to provide detailed specifications for a conveyor belt system. If the inspector suspects it poses a safety risk, they might also ask for load-bearing capacity test results to ensure it can operate safely. Case study. In a textile factory in Pakistan, an inspector identified a potentially unsafe structure supporting a textile machine. The factory manager was required to submit detailed structural drawings and conduct stress tests to ensure its stability. This action prevented a potential workplace disaster. Section 46. Safety of building, machinery, and manufacturing process. Definition. Section 46 empowers inspectors to order specific safety measures if they find any part of a building, machinery, or manufacturing process in a factory dangerous to human health or safety. This includes specifying necessary actions and prohibiting certain operations until the danger is removed. Elaboration. Inspectors have the authority to order corrective actions if any aspect of a factory, such as a building, machinery, or manufacturing process, is deemed unsafe. These orders can include specific measures to address the danger and, if necessary, prohibit certain activities until the issues are resolved. Example. In a chemical factory in Pakistan, an inspector may order the replacement of corroded storage tanks that pose a risk of chemical leaks. They might also prohibit the use of these tanks until they are replaced, ensuring worker safety. Case study. In an automobile manufacturing plant in Pakistan, an inspector identified faulty welding equipment that could lead to accidents. The factory manager was ordered to repair or replace the equipment and halt welding operations until it met safety standards. Section 47. Power to make rules to ensure safety. Definition. Section 47 grants the government authority to create rules requiring additional safety devices and measures in specific factories or types of factories to protect workers. This includes mandating certificates of stability for manufacturing processes using power. Elaboration. The government can create rules to enhance safety in factories by specifying additional safety measures, such as requiring specific devices or certifications for certain manufacturing processes. This ensures that factories adhere to the highest safety standards. Example. In an engineering factory in Pakistan that uses heavy machinery, the government may require additional safety devices like emergency stop buttons and protective barriers to prevent accidents. Case study. In a beverage production factory in Pakistan, new rules may mandate a certificate of stability for their high-speed bottling machines, ensuring they are safe for operation. This reduces the risk of accidents and injuries. Section 48. Precautions against dangerous substances and explosive materials. Definition. Section 48 addresses precautions for factories where hazardous substances or explosive materials are present. It outlines measures to prevent explosions, including enclosure of machinery, removal of dangerous materials, and control of ignition sources. Elaboration. This section emphasizes the importance of preventing explosions in factories with hazardous materials. It mandates safety measures such as enclosing machinery, eliminating dangerous materials, and controlling potential ignition sources. Example. In a chemical factory in Pakistan, all equipment used in processes involving explosive chemicals must be enclosed to prevent any accidental ignition. Case study. In a cement factory in Pakistan, strict safety measures are implemented to prevent explosions during the production process. This includes regular equipment inspections and employee training on handling hazardous materials. Section 49. Safety measures for factories with explosive or inflammable materials. Definition. Section 49 requires factories dealing with explosive or inflammable materials to take measures to prevent explosions. This includes enclosing machinery, removing or preventing the accumulation of dangerous substances, and controlling potential ignition sources. Elaboration. Factories dealing with explosive or inflammable materials must implement safety measures to prevent explosions. These measures include enclosing machinery, ensuring substances don't accumulate, and controlling sources of ignition. Example. In a chemical factory in Pakistan, all equipment used in processes involving explosive chemicals must be enclosed to prevent any accidental ignition. Case study. In a cement factory in Pakistan, strict safety measures are implemented to prevent explosions during the production process. This includes regular equipment inspections and employee training on handling hazardous materials. Section 50. Prohibition of child labor. Definition. Section 50 allows the government to make rules prohibiting the admission of children to certain factories or parts thereof where they cannot be legally employed. Inspectors can also issue orders to prevent the admission of children to such factories. Elaboration. This section emphasizes the prohibition of child labor in factories. Government rules can restrict the admission of children to factories where their employment is not allowed. Inspectors have the authority to enforce these rules. Example. In a textile factory in Pakistan, government rules prohibit the employment of children below a certain age. Inspectors ensure compliance by preventing the admission of underage workers. Case study. In a food processing factory in Pakistan, an inspector discovered that children were working in violation of labor laws. Orders were issued to prevent their admission, and the factory was fined for non-compliance. Section 51. Reporting accidents. Definition. Section 51 mandates that in the event of an accident in a factory resulting in death or serious injury preventing a worker from resuming work for 48 hours, the factory manager must report it to the relevant authorities within a specified time. Elaboration. Factories are required to promptly report accidents that result in death or severe injuries. This ensures that authorities can investigate and take appropriate actions to prevent future incidents. Example. In a beverage factory in Pakistan, a worker's hand gets caught in a machine, resulting in a severe injury. The factory manager must report this incident to the authorities. Case study. In a chemical factory in Pakistan, a chemical spill leads to the hospitalization of several workers. The factory manager reports the incident as required by Section 51, and an investigation is launched. Section 52. Appeals against inspector orders. Definition. Section 52 grants the right to appeal to the manager or occupier of a factory against written orders issued by inspectors. Appeals can be made within 30 days of receiving the order, and the government or an appointed authority may confirm, modify, or reverse the order. Elaboration. Factory managers have the right to appeal against inspector orders if they believe the orders are unjust or excessive. An appellate authority reviews these appeals and has the power to uphold, amend, or overturn the inspector's decision. Example: the manager of an engineering factory in Pakistan appeals against an inspector's order to halt production due to a safety issue. The appellate authority reviews the case and decides whether to modify the order. Case study: in an automobile manufacturing plant in Pakistan, the factory manager appeals against an order to replace certain machinery. The appellate authority decides to confirm the order after a thorough review, ensuring worker safety. Section 53, Additional powers to make rules for worker welfare. Definition: Section 53 grants the government the power to create rules related to worker welfare, including providing adequate shelters during rest periods in factories employing more than 150 workers. These rules may also include standards for childcare facilities and certificates of stability for manufacturing processes. Elaboration: this section allows the government to establish rules that enhance worker welfare in factories. This can include providing shelter for rest periods, setting standards for childcare rooms, and ensuring the stability of manufacturing processes. Example: in a textile factory in Pakistan with over 150 workers, the government may require the provision of a designated rest area that meets specific standards. Case study: in an automobile manufacturing plant in Pakistan, the government enforces rules that mandate the availability of a safe and well-equipped childcare room for female workers with young children, enhancing overall worker welfare.